going back to my story, when I fell over in the mud, you know, what I can tell you what I really wanted to do as I was standing by the car was go home. That was absolutely my number one wish right there, right then, was not to have the meeting and to go home. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, I walk around Haringey and visit a few schools covered in mud. It's okay, you know. There are worse things that can happen. And that's the strategy, that recognizing in order to get myself back from the external locus of control back to the internal, is to think about the choices that I can make. And when I've made a choice, recognize what I've done. And so part of my goal was if I can raise your awareness that when you're not feeling like that, to think about, well, okay, what can I do? What are my options and what are my choices and what are my alternatives that I can start to generate that move me back into me starting to take some control, me starting to take some ownership. As soon as you start to do that, you will automatically feel less like this. 55% of communication, obviously face-to-face, is around facial expressions, gesture and posture. 38% is around your tone of voice. 7% is only the words that we use. So if we're looking to influence someone, what we need to get is real congruence, so real matching between what we say and what we do. Because whilst we may be saying one thing, we could be doing something totally different. The skill of empathy is letting them know that we know what that emotion is. That's the skill. Where we often fail to let people know the emotion is in a habitual phrase, I understand. Because let me tell you, when I moved house a couple of years ago, I was waiting 11.5 weeks to have my phone connected. So I get on the phone and I explain the situation, because of course there aren't any call notes attached to my call. So I explain the situation again. It's been 11.5 weeks. I've had 6 phone engineers come out, and the woman on the end of the phone says, Mr. Bush, I totally understand how you must be feeling. What do you think my response may have been? It wasn't a, oh yes, I can tell you do. It was, you haven't got a clue how I'm feeling. I've taken 6 days off work. I'm self-employed. That's 6 days' money I've lost. You haven't got a clue how I'm feeling. So understand can be a bit of a language bomb that people throw out and it explodes in their face. And over the phone, we know it feels uncomfortable. You know, 10 seconds of silence over the phone, you know, feels like a minute. You know, it's a long time of silence. And you know, you're almost tempted to say, hello, just to check that people are still there. So we know over the phone it's common sense to explain what we're doing. It's just as common, it works just as well when you're face to face with somebody. Again, it's about giving people that control back again. Because if you don't explain what you're going to do before you do it, what will people do? And they'll do what instead? Make an assumption.